Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well. Guess what? Guess what day it is? It's right. That's right. It's the midweek hump. It's the midweek hump, and this is video 2 of 2. It might be 1 of 2 because there's 2 videos, and I don't know which one I'm going to put out first. But who knows? All I do know is that there's 2. Ain't that amazing? Not half as amazing as you look though, because you are looking amazing. But anyway, we're going to get straight into this video because it's an important one. Now, Jay Ombre did a video, and it's this video here. This one with Brent Kohpacka's face on it. And I know. Look, when Brent Kohpacka's name gets mentioned, some people lose their shit. And I understand why. Because he's ex-military, served his country, Purple Heart, whole 9 yards. This was a guy who was a hero. But, look, sometimes, just sometimes, heroes can be so damaged that they can do heinous acts. And this isn't about, by the way, before you lot start throwing fucking tomatoes, this ain't about saying that he did something. But what we are saying, and what Jay Ombre is showing, and if you haven't watched that video, please do go and watch it. The link will be in the description. It shows that the police, Moscow Police Department, seemingly had him on their radar. That's right. It's shown in documentation that they had a search warrant and actioned that search warrant on Brent Kohpacka's home. And not only that, but the actions that they took could have potentially been the catalyst that led to the situation that would ultimately lead to his death. So, with respect of us always questioning whether there was indeed a connection between Brent Kohpacka and the Idaho 4 case, well, you now have it. You now have it that he was on the radar. And I said this right back at the start. This crime, and again, this ain't about pointing the finger at Brent Kohpacka. This is about understanding the mechanics of an investigation into this crime. And we always wondered how they got to Bryan Kohberger. It always seemed like someone pointed the finger. Now, if Moscow Police Department were, and hear me out, trying to, this had to be an outsider. Moscow wanted this to be an outsider, but what if it was? What if Brent Kohpacka was the guy? What if he was? And there are hints that could explain why Bryan Kohberger could be pushed forward, and they feel that there could potentially be no collateral damage to that, to framing, if you like, the wrong guy. Because they ultimately know, or feel that they know, that the person who did it ain't going to do it again. Now, maybe that could explain why they have a knife sheath with Bryan Kohberger's DNA on it. Maybe Bryan Kohberger did indeed know Brent Kohpacka. Maybe they did spend time together, and maybe the knife sheath that was found do you know what I mean? It's what I'm saying is Brent Kohpacka and Bryan Kohberger, if they were together, I can imagine them having a few drinks together, probably having a discussion, and Bryan Kohberger perhaps in the comfort of either his home on campus or Brent Kohpacka's, not far from, going through his knife collection, showing him his knife collection. Oh, and lo and behold, they just happened to have a DNA sample on the button snap. Could you imagine? Have a look at that. Oh, let's have a look. Clips that open, looks at it, and away you go. That's DNA on it. We spoke about it, didn't we? How easy it is for touch DNA to be transferred, or how someone could touch that sheath and it doesn't necessarily mean that they are on the scene. But look, so Brent Kohpacka had a traumatic brain injury, and he was clearly going through some shit. And again, another question that we kept asking ourselves is, something happened around this time. Something happened. There was an event, a situation that, bang, he goes off and goes fucking mental, or seemingly goes mental. Something happens. Now, around this situation, we're going to call it the situation, we don't see any roommates. We don't see any roommates there. We don't. We're told that he is threatening roommates, and he is saying about hurting roommates, but we don't see them, and we haven't heard them come out. We don't know their names. We don't know anything about them. We didn't even see them. On the body cam footage that we have seen, which Truth and Transparency got hold of, they're not on there either. It's just Brent Kohpacka. Some people have speculated that perhaps Brent Kohpacka did shout out, "I'll hurt them," or "I know who did hurt them." Who knows? What I'm saying is, you always wanted a connection. For people who were on the fence with, did he have anything to do with it, didn't he? You wanted a connection. Well, there is your connection. Your connection is, it would seem that Moscow Police Department believed at one point that he did indeed have something to do with this crime. Now, we don't know, and it has been speculated that Brent Kohpacka could have potentially had a Hyundai Elantra, but we don't know that. We don't know it, but it has been questioned. What car does he have? Where did his car go? Where did it end up? We also know that he had put things on his social media that were bizarre. Map coordinates, different things on there. And his social media was pulled down, erased, gone. So who had access to his social media? Who was able to pull his social media down? This is someone who clearly had mental health issues caused by a traumatic brain injury, and who would have had access to his social media other than, or should I say, who would have been able to gain access to that in order to shut that down? You know, we have the Idaho 4 victims, and I don't know, I think that at least 3 out of 4 of them, their Facebook profiles are all still active. They are up and running. I've lost friends who have Facebook accounts, and they are still up and running. Some people can set up legacy accounts, and they can set up legacy details, so in the event of their death, there is someone that they can go to that then has control over that. So is that what happened? Because it seemingly happened incredibly, incredibly quickly. As soon as he posted something, that account was gone. Who has that kind of power? So the FBI go to Brent Kohpacka's home, and they exact a warrant looking for and seemingly finding the knife and the sheath, or a knife and a sheath. Seems to be what they've done. And they seem to have taken these things. And they seem to have left a note saying, "Hi, while you was out, we fucked your shit up." And that is the catalyst that ended up escalating into a murder. Because that's what it was. He was murdered. Just make the bones about it. Brent Kohpacka was murdered. You can call it whatever you like. That's what I'm calling it. So the question is, what happened here? Did Brent Kohpacka have anything to do with 1122 King Road and the events that happened on that fateful night? Or did he not? Did Brian Kohberger know and have anything to do with Brent Kohpacka? Is that how potentially Brian Kohberger's DNA got onto a knife sheath? Is the fact that Brian Kohberger, he is where he is that because, and I've said this multiple times, Moscow PD knows or thought they knew that he didn't have an alibi. He goes in and has this interview. He is spoken to, because he's obviously interviewed by law enforcement. You know that. And I believe it was stated that he also had an over-the-telephone interview with the FBI as well. Now, if they've established during these conversations that they have with Brian Kohberger, I believe it was a short conversation before he requested legal counsel. So he tells them where he was, that he was driving around. He was driving around his own. Bang, they've got him. Now, they also believe that the person who did it is potentially now deceased because they executed that person. So there is no comeback. There is nobody who's going to go and do this murder again. So they're quite confident. And why would they not just admit to it? Why would they not admit to this? Because you've got Moscow Police Department who executed an ex-military guy with nobody around him, no one around him at all. There's no roommates there. We can see that clearly on the body cam footage. And how would that go down? How would that affect law enforcement and the officers involved when they have to explain why that happened? Who knows? I'm just spitballing. Maybe I should get my tinfoil hat out. But in my eyes, this don't look good. It don't look good. It looks like there's a potential that Brent Kohpacka, even if he had nothing to do with the Idaho 4 case, which is it's possible, but even if he didn't, it would seem that the fact that they went into his home while he weren't there and fucked his shit up, that was the catalyst to the event that would lead in his execution. Let me know down below what you think. Go head over, watch that video, show some love, and come back and let me know what you think.